Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be able to meet you all finally. My name is Elliot Ambers, and I'm excited to do my debut stream. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about my introduction. So again, I'm Elliot Ambers. My birthday is August 18th, and I am a scholar. I am very studious. I spent a lot of time refining my craft and teaching others. Though, I will say that in the time I've spent learning and studying all this time, it's gotten a little bit boring just knowing all that I do. So what else could be more exciting to know than the future, right? That's why I've decided to subclass into being a seer, so that I could learn things that no one can know. Things that you can never see coming unless you devote yourself to those arts. So that's who I am. I'm excited to spend the time that I'm going to spend streaming with you guys, playing games, doing a bunch of different kinds of teaching streams and learning streams, and I hope that we all have a good time. So, let me talk a little bit about some people who really helped make this possible in the first place. So, here we have my illustrator and the person who did my Live 2D. The illustration was done by Norchie at NorchieX on Twitter. She's awesome, very great, wonderful to work with, and she's a very sweet person, very awesome. And just whatever I asked her, she just did without any problem at all. And my Live 2D, I was animated by Rice Deity at Twitter, and he's excellent at just making and whipping out these Live 2D commissions. Very, very awesome person to work with, very patient, very understanding, and he's just awesome. You gotta check both these guys out on Twitter. And really, I'm just so thankful that they were able to do this for me. So those were my artists, Rice and Norchie. Really just very grateful that I had the opportunity to work with them like this. Moving on, talk a little bit about me. My likes, well, I'm a big fan of teaching, as you guys know, as a scholar. I taught a lot of different things over the past few years, ever since I've been certified to be one. I also love performing music, though that applies to both singing and also instrumental performance. I've been a little bit out of practice, but hopefully as I stream, maybe I'll get back into it, doing more singing streams, doing more covers, maybe doing some more instrumental performances and that kind of stuff. Very excited to share that with you all. And I also really like eating meat, like probably an unhealthy amount, you know, just like beef, chicken, pork, all that. I just am very carnivorous. Also, you can see there just a little bit, I do also really like drinking. Not because I like to get, you know, inebriated or anything, but I just really like the flavor. I always say that if I could drink and not get drunk, I would. If I could, I would unironically, I would purchase beers that have zero alcohol content because I just like the way it tastes, you know? As for my dislikes, I am very bad at trading card games. It's kind of weird how bad I am at them. I don't understand it. I've tried to play them many a time, but it just feels like every time I do, I'm just not allowed to have fun. And it's not like you like a game and you just lose at it. It's just every time I've played, nothing ever goes right. So that's why I don't like trading card games. I'm also not a big fan of personal lateness. You know, I always try to be on time with everything. I try to make sure that I'm always early, if not very, very, very early, to a point where sometimes I'll attend events or other things and just be there 1 or 2 hours before I'm supposed to be there because I'm very paranoid of being late to the party. And as much as I like drinking, I am not a fan of IPAs. It's probably the only kind of alcoholic beverage where I can't drink it. It just doesn't, I just don't know how to enjoy them. And lastly, I don't like vegetables. And that just goes hand in hand with or not hand in hand, but for the most part, the only vegetables I really tolerate are things that you usually put with meat, like, beef and broccoli, mushrooms with pepperoni, that kind of really baseline. But like, most other vegetables, I'm like, I'll eat something else. As for my favorite game series, I love video games. I love them a lot. And if I listed all my favorite genres and all my favorite games, I'd be here for quite a while. So you can see some of my top favorites. I really love Fire Emblem. I like the Tales of series. I'm very big into Japanese RPGs. I love fighting games a lot, and my favorite fighting game series is Guilty Gear. I'm also a fan of the Katamari Damacy series. Really love those games, as many of them exist, especially in recent time. And I'm a big fan of platformers, especially the Banjo-Kazooie series. So you'll see a lot of those kinds of games being played as I stream. I'm really just into most kinds of games. I don't think there's any... The only kind of games I tend to avoid, the only genres are like sports games and shooters. I just can't aim. It's really bad. So like, I never play games like Apex or Fortnite. And I don't really play like any sports games because I just don't understand sports. But other than that, I love just about every genre. Rhythm, adventure, character action, strategy. You name it, and I probably would enjoy it. And that's really it for my favorite game series. It's just, those are some of my top favorites, and I just don't have any genres that really don't appeal to me. Aside from the ones that I listed, and they're not many. And even so, I usually give them a chance if they do something unique or different, like, just think about a game like Rocket League, which is just car soccer. It's like soccer, but better. So, before I get into my next slide about what my goals are, I want to do something related to being a seer. And you can see here, I have a layout here. And I just want to, in an effort to kickstart where I'm at, I just want to take a look at where this will take me in the coming year and be able to reflect on this as I continue doing all this over the course of this year, looking onto the next. So, as you can see, I have a spread here of 7 cards, and I'm going to live do myself a reading so you can hear I dropped a card, I'm doing the shuffling, and I'm going to show you guys, essentially, we'll look together to see where I'll go from here, what we can look forward to in the coming months as I begin this journey of VTubing. So I'm going to shuffle this deck real good. We'll format the cards, and we'll take a look. I'll put on screen what those cards that I draw are going to be. So let me shuffle this. Let you guys hear the very loud slapping of the cards. We'll do it again. And let's lay out these cards. 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. So, we're going to start in the center with the overall. And if I flip that over, we see that the whole fortune here. Actually, let me flip them all over. And we'll go through them card by card. And so the first card that we see, let me lay this all out actually. So let me pull out these images. Our first card is the Three of Cups, but it's reversed. So let's turn that upside down. If I can turn it upside down, I believe I should be able to rotate these. They do not let you rotate these, so I will just have to note that they are reversed on the actual using text. So we'll start with this. Our next card is Temperance. I'll make sure that these are all visible to you guys. Next we have the Moon reversed. Pull that up. Let's see. It's getting lost in my folder. There we go. That's 3. Next we have the Three of Pentacles. Almost there, just 3 more cards. Next is the King of Wands. Then we have Judgment reversed. And then we have, lastly, oop, that's not what we wanted. Our last card is the Page of Cups reversed. So I'll put an R on everything that got reversed. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Very reversed reading, which usually means it's a very turbulent. It's going to be a turbulent future for me for this stream as we continue. Let's add a new source. These are, let's see if I can duplicate this. Two, duplicate. And that's our reading. So the first thing that we should note is that there's 5 of these cards out of the 7 that are reversed, which usually means that a lot of these meanings are reversed. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad, but usually they say that when you're reversed, things are usually turbulent, prone to change. And going from the start of it, from the center here at the overall portion, we have the reverse Three of Cups. So you can see upright that it's a representation of people celebrating together, unity, and people are having a good time like they're partying. So we can see here overall, it's not a very good card to have reverse. It usually means that there's either conflict with other people, or maybe it represents sort of isolation, that you're not participating in this celebration. Doesn't mean a very good fortune for me, maybe it means bad luck, but it's something to watch out for, you know? Just because it means something negative or something that's not great doesn't mean that we can't try to do our best to avoid it. So it seems like things might be turbulent if we don't do anything to try and stop that. In regards to collaborations, maybe with other people, other content creators that I might meet in the community, we have the Temperance card. And the Temperance card is a representation of everything in moderation, you know? You don't want to push yourself too hard, but you also don't want to not push yourself at all. So it's a good symbol of maybe I should take the initiative, but also try not to push myself too forward with these within the community. Try not to force myself into working together if I don't need to. If the opportunity presents itself, I could go for it, but it shouldn't be something that I try to rush into without really understanding what's going on. Next, we have the Moon reversed. So the Moon, another major arcana card, represents sort of facing the unknown, represents not being particularly certain of what's to come. And that position in reverse means that it's sort of unclear what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So in regards to my work, it could mean that I could be a little aimless with what I'm doing. Maybe I won't really know exactly what it is where I want to take this channel. So it's a good warning, a good idea to sort of try and find a sort of direction to go forward in, try to not be too aimless with what I do. So it's important to make sure that you keep that focus. Then we have the Health card. You can see there it is 3 of Pentacles. You can see it's a bunch of people. They're in a building. They're all sort of just standing there. One of them is working on the pillar. They're kind of admiring the what they have in that building. And usually this is a card that represents sort of a day of respite, a day of there's no conflict really. They're just sort of in the building. It's just a representation of taking a break, a representation of not really being in any danger necessarily, but it's just a day of peace essentially. So for my health, that probably indicates that I really don't have anything necessarily to worry about. It'll probably stay the same as it usually is. So that's fine. You know, that's nothing too unexpected. I'm typically a healthy person. As for the Wealth card, as for the Money card, we have the reversed King of Wands. And the King of Wands usually represents someone who is grounded, not necessarily a figure, but something could represent an institution or could represent a sort of the idea of someone who holds the cards, who holds like that sort of grounded spiritual energy within you. And with that being reversed, it could mean something along the lines that I could be a little uncertain with where my money is going. So it's very important that I don't look necessarily towards this as some sort of stable career, but if I can, that would be nice. It's kind of a weird card to think about, reverse, and think about it in that specific situation, but the way I see it, the way I interpret it, it sort of just serves as a sort of warning, showing that the institutions, where I get my money from, I have to make sure that I'm very conscious of how I deal with all that. And then we have our second to last card on risk-taking and gambling and sort of jumping into new things. So Judgment as a card usually represents a decision being made, a major decision at that. Very imposing figure with the angel tooting the horn. And so in the reverse position, it usually means that it's a decision being made that isn't necessarily in my hands. So what that means in terms of risk taking is that if I take a risk, or even if I don't try to take risks, risks will come to me. So just try my best to try to avoid what I can avoid and adapt to the situations that are out of my control. So that seems to be what this card is saying here. And lastly, we have the advice column, the advice card. It's the Page of Cups reversed. Usually pages represent messengers, usually things being sent towards you. And in this case here, it's not much different. You can see it's a sign usually with the cups. The cups usually represent sort of like spiritual energy, sort of like healing. So reversed, it seems to be a warning that I probably shouldn't try to overwork myself if I can help it. So you can see overall, it seems that this fortune is trying to tell me to be very cautious as I approach this whole VTubing thing. And it's telling me that there might be a lot of factors that I can't really predict, and that I'm going to have to prepare myself to adapt towards those situations. And that's what I'm taking from this reading. So moving on, let me clear this all out. We'll clear out all these cards. And moving on to the next page, here are my goals as a streamer. The first thing I want to do is maintain a consistent streaming schedule. I've been excited to do this for a while, and I just want to make sure that I can keep at it, you know? I don't want to just start this and then a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, just drop my schedule, cancel my streams, and just not do it, you know? The only way that you'll get bigger is just by continuing to do it, you know? So I just want to maintain a consistent streaming schedule. I do, like I mentioned earlier, I'm very fond of and I very much enjoy performance, though I don't know if I could do it live right now. But I do want to release a bunch of covers. I think that'd be really fun to do, and I have some stuff in the works. So look forward to that in the future. And I'm also really excited to be a part of the community and really excited to work together with other people. I really like to be able to collab with other people. Who knows for what, but anything that could be interesting. You know, I'm going to try to put myself out there a little bit, try and meet some new people. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, you know, I think these are pretty realistic goals. So we'll see how many of them we get through over this next year. And lastly, we have my debut schedule. So I have the next 2 weeks planned out already. So I'll just talk a little bit about what it is exactly that I'm going to be doing. So first off, tomorrow I'm going to be streaming some Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. It's going to be an Iron Man run. So what that means is that, you know, you just play through the game without resetting. If anyone dies, they're dead forever. And that's it. If I get a game over, I got to restart from the beginning. So I'm going to be doing that both on the 7th and on the 12th, as well as on the 20th. I have a couple of days planned for that because obviously it's kind of a long game, so we'll get through it as much as we can. I plan to play some Teamfight Tactics a couple days of that week, on Monday both weeks, which Teamfight Tactics, if you don't know what that is an auto battler game. You kind of just build your own army and just watch them fight. Very strategy reliant, and we're going to see how high we can climb over the next few months. On the 10th, which is a Wednesday, I'm going to start doing some ranked Guilty Gear. See how many people I can beat online and see if I can just beat my way up the ranks. And if you take a look at both February 11th and February 18th, every Thursday I do plan on doing some Japanese studying streams, starting from the beginning. So if you're ever interested in learning, following along with my studies, and just going through lessons similar to a textbook. That's what I'm going to be doing on Thursdays. And hopefully next week, or next week, on that Wednesday, I want to do a fortune reading stream where I read the fortunes of other people, maybe from asks sent to me, people DMing me, and just seeing other people's fortunes, just reading them, maybe giving them an idea of what to expect in the future. So that's my stream schedule. You can see in the bottom right there, I'm actually kind of blocking it, but you can see also in the bottom left corner of the screen, it's my Twitter @ and that's really it. I'm very excited to be doing this. I'm very excited to meet everyone. Just wanted to get that out there. Just debut, introduce myself, and so you can see a little bit of who I am. So for those of you watching right now, those of you watching the archives, thanks for stopping by, thanks for tuning in, and I'm really excited to start streaming. That's really it. That's all I have for my debut. I'm very excited to continue streaming, continuing to do some more stuff, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.